What happens when your homepage is beautifully designed and you have a really strong brand identity, but your messaging might be still a little too safe or a little too polite? In this clarity jam, I sat down with the CEO of WorkBright, an HR compliance platform for mega enterprise companies that have more than 100,000 employees and are hiring a lot of people. We dug into her homepage and unpacked where enterprise messaging often goes quiet and how to bring the right value props to the service without breaking trust. Let's dive in.
Hi, my name is Chapelle Ryon. I'm CEO at WorkBright. WorkBright is the leading compliance solution for employers. So we deal with everything with the employee through the new hire journey. 4My9 is our bread and butter. We solve those really unique pain points that keep employers compliant throughout the employee lifecycle.
I love it. Thanks so much for coming on Clarity Jams, Chapelle. For one of the things that is obviously your bread and butter is kind of HR and that kind of glue and that kind of messy glue that is so needed in enterprise companies. Can you share a little bit for people who are tuning in about kind of who your ideal customers are, obviously you solve that I-9 pain point.
Yeah. So our ideal customer at this point of our business journey is those employers that are high volume. So an ideal customer is one that is over 100,000 hires per year. And a really, really target ICP are those that have their own tech stack and they're really focused on speed and throughput of that candidate journey. So we come in just after that top of funnel candidate attraction when you're ready to make a hire. A good example of this, speaking about 4My9, is for 4My9, you can complete that in office, in a back office. But for those that are hiring over 100,000 per year, this is a really unique pain point when we're talking about the integration with E-Verify as well. And the 5% of candidates that struggle with it are a big problem for them. So we ease all of those pain points in that high volume hirers. They have their own tech stack and they want to embed 4My9 and other compliance paperwork directly in that candidate journey so that they can increase the speed with which it takes them to get through. We say an under 10-minute onboarding experience, and the throughput, compliant throughput. So those that start the candidate journey to those that are ready to work at the end of the compliance paperwork because they've done it correctly. That's really the target customer that we work with.
And for someone who's tuning into this who maybe doesn't know HR lingo, like actually both of us do, what is I-9 form?
Thank you, Jessica, for backing me up on that because I sometimes jump into the weeds because I've been doing this for a decade now. 4My9 is the form that every employee in the US needs to complete to prove their work eligibility in the United States. So it's particularly painful because Section 1 must be completed by the employee, and then Section 2, you need to review the work authorization documents that someone is submitting and prove that and have a third party sign off that they have reviewed the documents and the information submitted on Section 1. And under penalty of perjury, they're submitting this. So especially in today's environment, this is a hotly contested part of the employee journey, and we really support employers through that work eligibility process.
Awesome. And just to backtrack a little bit, how did you get into HR software?
Great question. I was in private equity before this, just working with software. I love SaaS as a solution. I love solving pain points for customers. HR tech, I kind of stumbled into. I was looking for a solution that had a great product market fit, was really solving a need for companies, a great founder, which we had to lead us through that employee journey, and a large enough market of the need that we were addressing for customers. So I found WorkBright. I was employee number 4 here, coming out of the TechStars program over a decade ago, and just really loved the pain point that they were solving for customers, and have in the process become really passionate about this employment journey and work eligibility.
I love it. So you went from basically employee number 4 to now CEO. That's freaking incredible that you don't even hear that story that often. Can you maybe share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think what's relevant for your audience is I came out of the marketing track. So I think historically back on my time in marketing, I don't think I was ever that good of a marketer, to be honest. Brand stuff, which I will share and pull up, has all been done by people that are way more creative and way better kind of brand marketers than I ever was. I think the reasons that I was successful in marketing have really suited me into CEO, and that was I only ever really cared about leads coming into the business and the way they were converting, and I was very data focused in that way. So I think there's kind of two types of marketers, and the best ones have both of these minds and are a really close Venn diagram of them. I was always really heavy on the data side of marketing. So I put $1 in, what does that return on the bottom side out? And I didn't really care about a lot of the rest of the marketing stack, which I think suited me well in my journey towards CEO, but probably there are way better marketers out there. I mean, I love our brand today, and it is a better iteration on what I had created back when I started 10 years ago. So came through that go-to-market track. When my founder kind of was ready to move into an executive chair position, at that point, I was kind of like leading more in the business operations area. But to go to the CEO position, had identified over kind of a 2-year period process gaps of where my knowledge was today and where I needed to fill it to be a leader. So I went through many business accounting courses to make sure I understood the finances of the business in the way that I needed to, kind of to prepare for that. And then my biggest step since I've become CEO for the last 3 years has been really understanding the tech stack of our business and being able to support our technical teams at a deep level. I'm still not a coder, although my ability to do that with AI is better and better. But I can understand the challenges that are happening in our technology, tech debt, all of those things, and help our teams manage through that. So I had to kind of fill those gaps coming from the go-to-market track into my CEO journey.
And spoken like a true, really strong, humble CEO, and the fact that like you know your strengths, but sounds like you're even better at being able to hire the right people and get the right seats to kind of fill out the things that maybe are not your superpower.
Absolutely. I mean, such a great point, Jessica. One of the things with any level step up of leadership is these like high achieving individual contributors, which I certainly was in my marketing role. You go from being like, here's why I got this promotion because I'm really good at this marketing thing, and then realizing you're not actually doing that thing anymore. Your ultimate goal is finding people that were even better than you were and hiring and promoting them, and then managing the stack of individual contributors underneath there without doing much individual contribution work in an ideal world because you found people that were even better. So it's kind of going from this like generalist and an early startup of I'm doing everything and I'm doing it at a 7 level, to raising up people and being like, oh, I know what a 10 looks like, and I'm going to hire that person in to take us to the next level of that. And really seeing people shine and be way better than you ever were at that role.
I love it. And now I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into your
I lost your audio for some reason. Is it on my end?
Now I even want to dive in a little bit deeper into your homepage.
I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Ooh, hold on.
Check my speaker settings.
Can you hear me now?
Can you try to say something?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Cool. Now I want to dive a little bit deeper into kind of your homepage and your brand identity and your design, which looks incredible, by the way. So first and foremost, the first thing I automatically see is clearly you've done a good job of yourself and then also with your team of having a really good design, very much in that enterprise realm, but without kind of going into some of the pitfalls of enterprise homepage design. Can you walk me through a little bit more about kind of what your thought process was with the latest iteration of your homepage?
Yes. And I really want to I'm going to talk to it as an organizational level because I very much was, in our ASIC framework, I was very much informed and consulted along the journey. But like we were just talking about, had an amazing brand specialist who really led us through this journey. So his process, his name is Ben, and Ben Fraser, and he started with kind of an archetype. So we took all of our core identity things. What are our core values? What's our core focus? Who's our target market? What are our guarantees? Our unique value propositions? And put them into like an archetype storytelling of like, who do we want to be from these kind of traditional storytellers? There's a great service for this that we use called Culture Amp. Culture Talk. I'm sorry. We also use Culture Amp for one-on-ones, but Culture Talk is the one that really leans into these archetypes. And we identified who we wanted to be as a brand that would appeal to that target market. Then we used a lot of backups to say like color theory, right? Blue equals trust for these high volume employers. Pink is momentum, like this speed and throughput. So how can we bring in color theory to give us some kind of backdrop of a brand? Then we took those core pieces of identity, color theories that we really wanted to do, taglines, elevator pitches, and we went out to a series of different consultants to say, design us a new logo, upgrade our logo and our brand around these themes. And I think we got maybe 6 different pitches on that. And we really wrestled with those as a leadership team to say, this one feels right, this one doesn't, maybe we change this. And where we settled was this beautiful W. We have a whole WorkBright brand guide now that kind of works around this, that we train all new employees on of who we want to be in the marketplace when they come and onboard into our organization. Our marketing leaders take every new employee through a brand overview of who we are in the marketplace. And I hope that you can see it kind of reflected here. We like to use a lot of like real images that are clear that we can bring forward. We're just kind of working now on our menu structure. So brand to me is a living, breathing thing, as opposed to a we did this and here it is and we're done with it. And I think our marketing team does a fantastic job of incorporating feedback we're hearing in the market, responding to trends, and adjusting the brand on an ongoing basis to continue to appeal to our ideal customer and to the archetype that we want to be.
I love it. And a couple of things that kind of just immediately stand out is you've mentioned kind of off the record and even at the beginning of this podcast that you really help work with large enterprise companies who have 100,000 plus employees. One of the things that immediately stands out is the design's amazing, but your H1 being modern HR compliance software. And then you're kind of the subhead right below it, HR compliance is complicated. WorkBright makes it simple with comprehensive I-9 verify form management software plus out of support for HR teams. That subscription is great. I wonder if adding something to your H1 that kind of signals, hey, this is specifically for enterprise companies, or something in there where it's like, if you're hiring if you have 100,000 plus employees, would take an already really strong homepage and make it convert even better.
Yeah, that's a great thought. I could totally see that. I mean, we have like the who we serve, which these are kind of the industry verticals, but you're right that it doesn't specifically call out company size on here.
Yeah, the navigation menu is great. Maybe it's a little bit clunky. It's getting maybe a little bit too many CTAs, but that's just a nuance in terms of CTA, in terms of conversions. From my own experience, like you never want to make people guess into what you do and who you're for. Something else that just immediately stands out, kind of lower on this page, where you have 3 million I-9s processed, 0 audit fines, and 8x faster hiring speed. That's like designed really, really well. Why is that buried in the middle of your homepage and not directly below your hero section?
Yeah, I mean, we would have to talk to my marketing leaders about some of these feedbacks and suggestions, and I think that they're always open to taking more on there. My general feedback would be, when someone comes to the website, they're oftentimes coming through a channel where they're going to a landing page that will specifically call out those things a little more specifically. So if someone is directly typing in workbright.com, they probably know what we do and are coming there for a reason, versus I think our team does a really great job of creating landing pages specific to the channel that they're sending directly to, that may have some more of that H1 language that you're talking about where it needs to be.
Totally. I mean, those landing pages are money. However, it's enterprise software, and making an assumption here that most people do not buy immediately after one landing page, and they're going to Google WorkBright and they maybe forgot how they heard about you. So stacking the deck in your favor and putting that in your homepage as well just makes those conversions land that much harder.
Sure, absolutely. That makes sense.
Awesome. And then I want to kind of scroll down a little bit to where you say kind of take the guesswork out of HR compliance. I see the logos. Those logos are great. Classic B2B enterprise SaaS. Have those logos, you have the big names, gives you validity. I would no notes there. And scroll down. Okay, so this is kind of where you're going into all of the product features and benefits, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so end-to-end I-9 and E-Verify compliance. Are those actually just illustrations, or does that actually kind of mimic some of the things within the software?
I mean, this is one of our unique value propositions, that we do document verification against I-9s. So the fact that we analyze the document is something that no other provider has. So that would be kind of like the first unique value prop there as an image, but it is an illustration of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you should maybe call that out a little bit more within these H2s, so that you're really kind of spelling out if, that is your core value prop and makes you so different than your competitors? Say that up front.
Yeah, I feel like we've done that a little bit here, but we can certainly call it out more.
Yeah, put that in where you say end-to-end I-9 and E-Verify compliance. That's fine, but it reads a little bit safe. It reads a little bit polite. If you really want to punch and convert, make it be leading with your core value prop and why you're different from every other HR compliance software.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Scroll down. Same thing for one place for every HR compliance document. Again, what is kind of that core singular value prop that WorkBright does that nobody else does?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have them listed here, the fully managed setup, the integrated workflow. So I think they're all in there, but what I hear you suggesting is that they're called out a little more.
Yeah, call it out, and instead of having it be a laundry list of every little feature inside, every little micro feature inside of a bigger feature, call out what is the one thing that you know is that like money messaging wedge, and that's what I call it, as a messaging wedge. That is the actual thing that your ICP, these HR leaders in these massive corporations, finds the most valuable. That's what I would lead with. And then everything else behind that is in the bullets or gravy, but call out exactly what it is. And that's how you really, really stand out.
Sure. That sounds great. Yeah.
Scroll down. Smart HR compliance services makes sense. Yeah, scroll down even more. Okay, then obviously all of your badges make sense. Are these kind of the industries that you mostly work in?
Yeah, that aligns with that high volume employer of these industries.
Perfect. No notes. Scroll down. HR. Okay, so these are more features. Again, when it comes to HR admin made easy, automated and audit proof, is that actually the core value prop? Is it being automated and you're not going to trigger an audit, or is there something else that's kind of hidden in that text?
No, I think that is definitely it. So we think of our brand as having like three key stakeholders. So the HR admin is the primary stakeholder. They're the ones that are in using the platform every day, making sure that employees are there. So like they're the primary stakeholder, and this is what we do for them. We make it easy and audit proof, right? This is the thing that keeps them up at night, as there could be an audit on my paperwork, and we know that we're going to help keep them secure. Secondary stakeholder would be the organization who, if they have an audit and they have fines, those are heavy financial burdens for them behind it. So they're a secondary stakeholder. And then equal with that would be the employee who's interacting with our platform every day, the end employee, and the experience that they have in it. But this HR admin is most often our buyer. And so I like calling them out here first. And this is certainly the value prop in there.
Totally. And then the next one being kind of the speed of hiring. What you were kind of saying before, which was it almost feels like speed of hiring is actually like the number one value prop. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, I would say it is maybe the number one value prop for the organization. I would say if they go fast, but they have errors, so they're audit ready, then that's equal for kind of the value props. So the way that I think through our solution and the way we think about things is like compliance is number one always. We have to be on the right side of compliance, so we can't do anything above compliance. Security, number two, with the types of PII that we deal with. Then speed and throughput would be 3 and 4.
Okay, so then the sequencing of this makes a ton of sense. You're leading with kind of your wedge, which is I-9 verifications, and then you're explaining the 3 other things that you do when it comes to audit proof, automated, speed of hiring, yada, yada, yada.
Sure.
Awesome. Scroll down. Again, you kind of know what I said there before. Why is this buried along with all of your customer? Well, I actually don't have a problem with your testimonials being there because you have the social proof above. But I would challenge you and be like, why is this really cool graphic not right below your hero section?
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah.
It, just instantly gives you more credibility when it comes to 3 million I-9s processed, all that stuff. Scroll down. Like the testimonials. I know it's enterprise. I'm guessing that's the reason why you can't have full names and company logos.
Yeah.
I would say that if you could, you can, but obviously that doesn't happen in large enterprises, and I get it. Yeah, like the CTA at the bottom where it says create a compliance first process with WorkBright. Scroll down a little bit more.
Well, can I ask a question here? Because one thing that is really important to our marketing team right now in the age of AI and the way that we're kind of like trying to adapt our strategy is getting more rich video content worked into this. So have you seen any success from ways to successfully get clients to give testimonials? People are varying levels of comfortability with video and recording themselves doing some of these testimonials versus giving us a written format. But we all know as marketers how important that is. So what have you seen as successful there?
That is a great question. And I know I'm going to assume, given large enterprises, legal, PR, comms,
Yeah.
getting them to, give you a case study is a nightmare. One of the ways that I have seen work extremely well, and I've actually advised a bunch of my own clients to do this, is if you can't get the money case study or you can only do kind of the first names, what you're doing right now is definitely one way to get about it, doing the testimonials the first names. Another would be an anonymized case study. However, if you want to get video, get them onto like your podcast. And offer to do like a member, like an HR member spotlight. So at that point, it's not necessarily a case study, but it's still marketing, and you treat it as, hey, this is what our amazing customer is already doing. And it kind of serves as like a hack to be able to kind of get them on camera talking about you without having to go through the loopholes of having to get legal and PR and comms and spend 6 months trying to get one little case study done.
That's a great suggestion. Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. And then scroll down. One of the things that just kind of I noticed is you have book a demo. You have book a demo in your navigation menu, which is great. However, if you scroll back up to your hero section,
Hero section here.
you do something that I see all of the time across now dozens of websites where you actually end up undermining with this really tiny thing, your own conversions, which is let's connect. Make that just be book a demo. So it's the same exact primary CTA across your entire homepage. Small thing that makes a massive difference when it comes to conversions and getting more demos booked.
Tell me more about that. I would think that maybe this would be like lighter content if people weren't ready for a demo, like would have been the way that my story would have told. Why do you see more success with just book a demo, book a demo, book a demo?
It's not necessarily the word book a demo. It's just having the same primary CTA language across every single button that is your primary CTA. So if you end up diluting what I see all the time, is you end up diluting it where it says, book a demo, schedule a call. You end up creating just a tiny bit more friction than if you were just going to leave with one. And then obviously if book a demo is that right one, go with that across everything. If you find that, let's connect or schedule a call is better, then just change that primary CTA across everything. So it's the same exact one.
Got it.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I mean, it's insightful. It's helpful to, like I said, it's a living, breathing thing. So we're right now looking for an additional update to talk about more of our services than I9. And so the homepage will be evolving as we move forward. But this is all really helpful feedback.
Yeah, obviously a homepage should always be living and breathing. You have an amazing design already and a really good brand. And yeah, the worst thing you could possibly do would be to keep the same homepage for 2, 3, 5 years and not continue to tweak it.
Yeah.